Hey guys, thanks for joining today. If you're brand new to what we're doing here with this portrait, I started it over the summer and I had to stop it for a while. There's a lot of things that I started maybe over the summer of 2019 or early fall, and had to make some adjustments in my business at that time. But we're back to this particular live stream of this drawing. And I just bought some new pencils that I was running low on, and I got those in. And they always put these annoying little stickers right at the end of the pencil near the tip that you have to take off there, so it leaves this adhesive on the pencil. It's not too bad, but it can be rather annoying. All right, but all that aside, we're getting back to this particular portrait, and I couldn't wait to get back to this. Thought about it a lot since last week, and I resisted the urge to go ahead and draw on it. Although there's something that was really bothering me. A couple of things, really. There's an area on the mouth that I need to correct and address. Down here, this shape needs to come down just a little bit more first, and then some of the other shape issues with the mouth with that feature to make sure the alignment is looking a little more accurate. And then the eye, I started looking a little closer at that, and I think there's some adjustments that need to be made to the eyes, and we'll go ahead and probably address those two things today. So if you're watching today, thanks for joining. I should open the chat up. I didn't do that. Let me go ahead and do that. So if you said hello already, hello and welcome. Hope you're having a great Monday. Oh, and my chat isn't working. Hold on one second. I got to log in here. Bear with me. All right. The joys of doing things live, I tell you. There we go. All right. So we're logged in. Okay. Let me just look at that mouth very quickly first. Sharpen this pencil. I did spray this drawing, but we're getting close to the end of the drawing. And when that happens, and the reason I sprayed it is, that seemed like a long time to sharpen that pencil. The reason I sprayed it is I was running out of tooth, really. I was getting to a point where I was needing more tooth. So I went ahead and sprayed it. And so it gave me a little more tooth. But now I can use some of my softer pencils on top if I want to get a little more coverage. So I'm going to look at this mouth. But on these, with these softer pencils, like the Derwent Drawing pencil, they're very, they break easily. I'll put it that way. They can break easily, especially with this long tip that I create. So, hey, good morning, Dorothy. Thanks for joining. It's good to see you over here. Dorothy is on YouTube Live. We're also streaming over on Facebook Live. I may not have changed. I just thought about something. I may not have changed my title this morning. May have kept the old title that I had in there from last week. I sure did. So hopefully you'll be able to find this with the correct title. See if we can change that real quick. So what is today? We're on the 13th. Okay. Yeah, I had a birthday over the weekend. Saturday, had a birthday. So boy, do I feel old. Just kidding. Okay, let's go back over here. There we go. All right. That may have affected the live stream, so apologize for that. Here we go. We're probably back, though, in case you got kicked off. Not sure. All right. If you got kicked off, I apologize. Okay. Let me make sure I build up enough over here. There we go.
Hello, John. This is Maria from California. I'm waiting to see this.
Hey, Maria, how are you? Thanks for waking up at the crack of dawn. I know it is for you over there. Maria is over on YouTube Live watching, and she's an artist and student of mine over in Face Value in the Sharpened Artist Academy. Fabulous portrait artist. You should check her out. Look at her work if you've not been able to ever do that. She is such a great artist. Okay. Let's see here. Push that down just a little bit. That's probably good. And you may be looking at this and wondering why there's all these striations. If you're new to looking at this live stream and you've not seen me drawing on this over the past few months, several months, or at least over the past, in December, we live streamed this 4 times. And some of that is due to just the stroke that I use, and so we're not done in those areas. The more we keep layering and adding additional linear marks, it will eliminate some of that look. Yeah, we've got a lot more to go with regard to some of this layering on the mouth, actually, and to get this looking right. So, hey, Somia, how are you? Thanks so much. Thanks for the birthday wish. Thanks for joining us out here as well. Somia is also inside the Sharpened Artist Academy, and I'm glad you're able to make it out here. All right. Hey, Ramona's out here as well. Ramona is also a Sharpened Artist Academy student, and she's over on Facebook Live. So, and Dorothy says she's got her coffee. Well, there you go. I do not have my coffee because I had 2 cups, and I'm trying to not drink more than a couple of cups a day. We'll see how it goes. Not really a New Year's resolution, just something I decided a few months ago. Sometimes I break that, but today I'm not going to. Especially if you're drawing sometimes. I don't know if this happens to you guys, but what will happen often is if I'm drawing and I have had too much coffee within a maybe 24-hour period, then I'll notice like just a little herky-jerky movement of my hand, and it's nearly, something that it's unintentional and non-voluntarily just doing it on its own. And I don't know how it happens sometimes. Like, whoa, what just happened? So, hey, Carol, how are you? Carol, I still owe you. I got your messages with the images that you sent over, and so I still owe you that critique. So I will get that to you. I just had things pile up. So thanks for your patience. Pardon me. Okay, so I'm going to look back at that mouth a little while later. I'm going to leave it alone for a little bit. But I will tell you that as I look at the eyes, this one is and this tends to happen from time to time, and you'll notice it happening in your drawings as well if you draw portraits. Sometimes you can just get focused on details, and you stop being able to see some of the angles. And so, what I started noticing is the eyes started looking, especially the one over on the edge of the face, started looking more closed than it actually really is in reality. So I'm going to do some damage control and see what we can do about that this morning. This happens when you draw. Nobody, I don't care who it is, name me any artist, they'll have something that won't work right while they're drawing. And as artists, that's our job, is to figure out what's not working currently in your drawing. Woo, that's way too bright. What isn't working and what is, and then how to correct that. That's the role of the artist. It's a problem solver, and incidentally, that's the role of anybody, doing anything. And if you do it well, you problem solve, and you do corrections. If you're the artist, you're the only one that knows what those corrections are. Why? Because it depends on your perception, So, oh, Claudette, thank you so much for joining us out here on YouTube Live. Yeah, so if you want to see the beginning of this drawing, then you can go back and look at the previous live streams, because that's where it is. It started, and it has stayed on these live streams. I've not changed. I've not drawn in between. I'm trying to do two things at once. Trying to read the name of this pencil and talk to you. But yeah, you can go back and look at it. Let me sharpen this pencil. Yeah, thanks, Maria. You can watch the replay. That's the words I was trying to spit out there. Okay, so let's see here. This angle needs to come down just a little bit more right in here. So I'm just making some little guidelines for myself. This needs to come down a little bit more over here. And this needs to come up just a little bit. Try not to touch different parts of my drawing. I need to put some paper under my hand, but I'm too lazy to do that at the moment. Okay, and then this needs to come down right in there. So it goes up just a little bit further, and here we go. Okay, let's see here. Comes over a little bit more. This angle needs to come down. Whoops, there's that herky-jerky movement. And this isn't the right color, but it doesn't matter at the moment. It's a dark value. Don't get hung up on color sometimes when you're trying to work on structural issues. Okay. Grab this dark chocolate color. Sharpen it first. These new pencils with their blunt points, I tell you. Okay, there we go. All right. So I'll bring this down right in here. Okay. I want to hint that that's curving back in the other direction up there. Okay. Now I went a little bit too far. That's all right. Bring that back over this way. And I want to look at it over here. Okay. Move that back. There we go. All right. Get this reflection to come down a little bit further than what it is. There we go. Darken this up. Okay. And then the little part underneath, I wanted to show some red under there. So I'm just using a red and brightening that up just a little bit. And that's a bad angle. So I can increase that sclera right there. Okay, a little bit better. Let me look at this. Yeah. Maria says she has a coffee that I may like that won't make me go herky jerky. Is it decaf? Let me guess, or something similar. All right, let's see here. Drawing. It's a funny thing. It's a back and forth. It's a little give and take. Or it's kind of like life and friendships and getting along with people. You're not always right. I'm not always right. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect, right? That's what a drawing is like. It's you think you're right sometimes, and then your perception is wrong. It's like, whoa, you know. Thanks, Claudette. Appreciate that. Over on YouTube Live. I appreciate that. Not decaf. Okay, you've got me very curious here, Maria. It's not decaf that she has, but she's going to share with me later. All right, well, I am waiting with bated breath on what this may be. It sounds fabulous, actually. Okay. Let's get that angle. Okay, this needs to go down just a little bit. Right in there. And work on that shape just a little bit more. There we go. Right in there, right in here. Okay. Let's put some of this color in here. That way I can remove some of the length of those eyelashes. So there we go. The brightest portion here on that upper eyelid is really over here near the edge and right up under the eyebrow. And that pencil needs to be sharper. There we go. Okay, I'm going to force myself not to start working on that forehead. 'Cause if I do, I'll never return to the eyes. Okay. In this direction here. Right up here. All right.
No, it is a coffee. The purest, all-natural, and the best coffee in the world.
I'm wondering if Maria is selling this coffee. I'm just kidding. I know she's probably not. She's sure talking about it a lot. Maybe it's an Amway coffee. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. If you sell Amway, you're fine. Not you, Maria. I mean, anybody. All right, let's see here. Take a look at this. All right. Whoops. Just broke my tip. Sometimes that happens. I'm not going to cry about it if I can help it.
On dark pastel paper, right?
So Dorothy is asking, this is Derwent Pastel on dark pastel paper, right? No, it's not. So Dorothy, this is on UART 600 grit dark paper, and I'm not using pastels. I'm using colored pencils. So I use the Derwent Lightfast colored pencils. I've used Caran d'Ache Luminance pencils, and I'm using the Derwent Drawing pencils as well. So a mix of wax and oil-based pencils. I've also used Polychromos. I'm using those as well. No pastel pencils at all. I'm only using Lightfast pencil pigments in the pencil selections that I'm choosing, and I'm only using wax and oil-based pencils. Good question, though. Okay. You do still collect a little bit of dust from time to time with wax and oil-based pencils, especially on a non-absorbent surface like a sanded paper. And so, I wonder what that is. There we go. So you want to either blow some of that off from time to time, or you want to,
I'm in the need-to-know zone.
or brush it off with a brush.
Where may I find it? Okay.
So Claudette, I'm not sure if you're asking about finding some of my work or Maria's. Maria can tell you where you can find her work if you're asking her. But most of my work is on sharpenedartist.com, or you can find it there. Just go to the About page, I think. Or you can look me up on Instagram. There we go. Oh, well, thanks, Maria. Appreciate that. All right. Make that just a little bit darker. There we go. Okay. Really appreciate that, Maria. That means a lot to me. I don't, you know, if you're listening today and you're somebody that draws, um, you're not. You may be like me with regard to your own work, but we are our own worst critic typically. I know I am. I will always see the issues. I'll always see the problems and the areas where I could have improved it. It's hard for me to um, see things that I like because I'm too fixated on the issues and the mistakes and areas that need to be corrected. But I do force myself to look past some of that from time to time and appreciate some of the areas that I did get right, quote unquote right, in my own mind, and then I try to learn from my mistakes and take that forward into my next piece, my next work. I try not to go back and work on the same drawing. And if I see the problem and I've already said I'm done with it, try not to just go back and just start working on it again. As you could, if you did that, if we did that with every piece, we'd never be done with any piece, right? As you progress and you improve with time, I feel like. Okay. Let me look at this again over on the screen. It's sometimes easier to see that. Here we go. You can see things easier as a thumbnail, as a smaller rendition of your drawing sometimes than you can the large drawing that you're working on. Alright, so down here in the lips, I want to make sure that this shape is looking a little more obvious. The overall shape. Okay. There we go. It's going to be more pink on this right side, her left, than it will be on this other side, the left side, her right side of the mouth I'm talking about. This side of the philtrum will be higher than the other side due to foreshortening. And so I want to make sure that I'm getting that in there correctly. There we go. At the same time, I'm brightening up all these areas. Yes, it is the Chinese white, Maria, that I'm using right now. Yeah, I like it for some of the final touches, final details. It's a very soft pencil, and if you use it too early on, then you're just going to knock some of it off whenever you start using harder pencils on top of it. You know, it depends on your pencils that you're using. But yeah, as a final pencil, I think it's a very nice one to use. Although sometimes I prefer, and it again depends on the pencils and how hard the cores are, the pencils you're using, the paper, and all of those things. But sometimes I prefer to use maybe just a Luminance white, and depends on the colors that we're looking at. I mean, I may not use a white even, something lighter, or even Polychromos. But in this case, I think this Chinese white is doing the trick. Okay. Make sure that I'm accenting the brightness up here on the top of the cheek more than I am down here in the middle of the form of the cheek. Or what I'm trying to do is accent this top plane of where the cheek is. That way I'm following the rules of light when I do that. It's always just a good thing to do and to keep in mind that you can do these subtle little things to accent how light works in your drawing piece and not worry about the reference as much when you do that. I don't have to see that there's more brightness on the top of the cheek. If I know how light works, then I can do that. Unless, of course, I have a strong light coming from down below and hitting straight up from top to bottom, that kind of thing. A very opposite type of lighting situation than what we would have in a natural lighting, canopy lighting situation. But I don't have that with this. I have more horizontal light. It's coming from a window, and so I don't have to worry about some of those things. I can use my artistic license and make some independent choices about how I want to depict some of the planes of the head and face, and that's one of them. I'm using a Luminance pencil, and I will be knocking off some of that Chinese white that I just put on that didn't adhere very well, and I'm okay with that. But I want to get this pink color in here, and I want to blend some of this together a little bit more than what it is currently. Go. One of the biggest things to pay attention to in colored pencil is the amount of pressure that you're putting on the pencil tip. And there are some ways to manage the pressure by the way that you hold the pencil, but you don't always have to do that. After you understand how much pressure to put on the pencil, you can hold it in different ways, and it will still you can still apply the right amount of pressure regardless of how you're holding the pencil. But early on, that's more difficult to do. Take a look at this.
I missed when you started this. Did you use a bass tone?
So Dorothy is saying that she missed when I started this over on YouTube, and she says, did you use a bass tone? She's watching over on YouTube Live, that is. That's what I meant by that. Yeah, so I did use a bass tone. I'm trying to remember. That's been so long ago. What that was, I don't recall offhand what that was. I'd have to go back and look, actually. But yeah, it's in the archives. So if you go back to some of the YouTube lives on my channel, you'll be able to see how I started the drawing. Okay, let's see here. Add just a little bit more of this color in here. And over here. And we need to sharpen it. As we emerge out of some of the shadows, it's nice to have sort of this warm kind of tint to some of those areas. And that's what this pink color affords us. Okay. So if you keep layering some of the skin tones and colors that you want and that you need, then you'll achieve the smoothness that you want. You know, it doesn't happen immediately, and sometimes it takes a while to get there with your current piece. But if you keep working at it, you'll be able to create some smooth skin tones. There we go. Okay. And then I can come back in the other direction. I need to sharpen this pencil first. If I push that pink tone a little bit too far, which is good to do, by the way, then I can push it back in the other direction with one of the mid-tone colors that is darker in value. There we go.
I am using Lightfast in my latest piece and loving them.
So Carol's saying she's using the Lightfast pencils, the Derwent Lightfast, I presume, in her latest piece, and she loves them. Oh, yeah, I agree, Carol. Such a nice pencil. It's awesome. Which set did you get? How many do you have? Okay, I've got too many striations in here that I want to get rid of. Now I could take an approach where, nothing wrong with it, where I come in here and I just deliberately fill in some of the area with the pencil. Just kind of doodling around and filling in some of the areas. I could do that. Or I could do what I kind of refer to as brushing, glazing. Use the pencil more like a brush. I'm brushing all of the strokes together. By the same time, I'm glazing on the color. And that's when I'm just going over everything indiscriminately with this same linear stroke. And it's creating just this glazing of this color. And sometimes it will, some of these little areas, these little tiny areas that look like they're not very smooth, will just take care of themselves whenever you do that. Either approach is fine, and if you want to get something done quick, then you just go through there, pick out the areas that you need to get your drawing done quicker. Awesome, Carol. So you have all of them, but about 4, huh? Yeah, I've had them all, and I've used some of them up, and I haven't ordered some of the new ones that I have already used up. So very cool. Yeah, I need to get a replacement order in soon. There we go.
Start with the Polychromos, Maria, and then move to the Lightfast pencils.
It's a real mind bender to draw in this way, though. To draw with this negative approach, negative space, drawing in the opposite. You're more or less erasing dark values because you're replacing dark values with lighter values. That's what's going on. And it's totally the opposite for most of us that draw on white paper. And it can start playing tricks on your mind a little bit sometimes. You're like, okay, now I'm darkening this. No, I'm lighting this value. No, darkening this one. No, I'm brightening this up. And so you could, and I've seen people do this, just go in here and color everything white.
Isn't this so meditative?
And then after they've got all the white down, then they come back and add color on top, which is fine. That's a good approach as well. Just quite different than what I'm doing here.
John, that cheek is definitely rounded.
Oh, thanks, Carol. Maria, appreciate it very much. Okay, let's see here. The pencil comes off on this paper now over here because I haven't drawn on this side very much. But it comes off on here so easily, so quickly. But I also have to be careful because if I'm not thinking about what I'm doing, then I'll have too much in one spot very quickly. So I'm using extremely light pressure at the moment. A little bit of a bright highlight over here that I could, capture a little bit. Although I don't want a whole lot of attention over here in the shadows.
What is that color you are working with now?
Yeah, good question. Dorothy's asking what color I'm working with right now. And this one's Sienna from the Derwent Lightfast range. And I really like this pencil a lot. It's a great color. It's pretty similar to the Polychromos Caput Mortem. It's within that range of tonal value and that hue selection. It's a very nice hue. And need to sharpen it again. The nice thing about the Derwent Lightfast pencils, I mean, other than that they're extremely lightfast. They have a lightfast rating of 1. I think there may be a few 2s, but most of them are 1. But the other nice thing about them is using them in conjunction with or together with the Derwent Drawing pencils. If you run out of your Derwent Lightfast pencil, chances are, with a few of them anyway, you've got a replacement color that's the same. I mean, they use even the same color designation on the name in the Derwent Drawing line. So that's kind of nice. And if you like the pencil color selection, then you can substitute the Derwent Drawing pencil as well. Just like they may have this color, I think they do, but I do know they have terracotta and one of the reds. They have chocolate. There's several that Mars Violet, I believe, is another one. So that's a nice thing to be able to substitute. And they feel very similar. The Derwent Drawing pencil just doesn't get a lot of marketing for whatever reason. And that's fine. That's the company Derwent. That's the company's choice to decide whether or not they're going to market one pencil over another, and for whatever reason they're wanting to market the Derwent Lightfast line, and it's newer right now, but they're marketing it more than the Derwent Drawing pencil. Yeah, I would have to agree, Carol. Talking about the Mars Violet color being a very useful color. Yeah, I really enjoy that one a lot. In fact, I don't have the Derwent Lightfast Mars Violet anymore because I used it all. Mostly on one drawing, even.
And I love taupe too.
Yeah, taupe's another very good one. Yeah, absolutely. I would have to agree. All right. So let me get all of this in here. This part of the ear. Playing around with all this cartilage in the ear. You want to kind of look at it like hard lines at the beginning. And then as you refine it and start to add more colors, you can create the dimension and curve and form and all those good things.
Hi John, working on my first portrait of someone I know. Face looked good, but now that clothing and hair is done, I feel like I need to go back and darken all the skin. Frustrated to have to redo.
Ah, so I see what you're saying, Lady Marigold or Heidi, and so you're working on your first portrait, and now you feel like you need to go back and darken all of the skin. And the thing is, don't beat yourself up too badly over that. That just happens, and darkening the skin may be a little faster than what you think it is. So you can get away with doing that by depending on what paper you're using. But doing this technique that I call glazing, what I was just talking about, where you're just adding that light pressure to the overall skin tone, and use a darker color than what you think you need, is what I would do. If you feel like it needs to go darker, and if you want to do that glazing, then use a darker color than what you think you need, and then use extremely light pressure and just start adding that all over everything. Now, that may sound like the opposite of what I would typically recommend, but you can get it done a lot quicker if you do something like that. Okay. Need to look around at what I've got here. I may need to use something like this violet gray. I don't want a very harsh light secondary reflection over here. This light source that's coming from within the shadows. I don't want this area over here to compete with my highlight area, and so I'm going to go with lavenders and blues and things like that over here when I want to depict something as being bright over here. Now, some people would use white over here. I suppose you could do that, but I think you're going to have a harder time making the drawing look convincing if you're using the same intensity of brightness in a shadow as you are in the highlight areas. And that's the reason. That's my logic for not using something as bright. Rules of light would dictate that I'm not going to use something as bright in a shadow as I am inside a highlight area. I didn't go to art college, and I don't have a BFA, and so there's certain things I'm not going to be able to explain all the theory behind a lot of decisions and things like that. But what I try to do, and maybe you're the same way, but I'm trying to look at my reference, and then I'm thinking about logic and how light would actually travel and how it would work. And then I'm just applying those concepts and those kind of rules to what I'm working on. Okay, I need something darker right in here. Okay.
Is the brown on the right side of the screen your drawing surface or a piece of paper over the drawing for your hand to rest on, John?
The brown over on the... No, that is... If you're talking about this area right here, Carol, that is my drawing board, is what that is. No, I've been kind of sloppy, admittedly, with this, where I'm not using the glassine all the time to rest my hand on under, or to rest under my hand. I should be doing that, but I'm not. So if I'm really thinking about what I'm doing, and I'm really watching myself, then I'll pull the glassine out and put it under my hand so that I'm protecting everything that I'm working on. It's usually how I work, but with this live stream, I'm trying to demonstrate. I'm demonstrating what I'm doing, and I'm trying to get this done without, trying to work faster, I guess I should say, than what I normally would. The typical drawing process for a portrait is usually takes a long time.
Wondering as the right-hand edge of the drawing seems quite close to the edge of the paper. Congratulations, Lady Marigold, on your first portrait.
There we go. Let's see if I can create some curve in here. Could probably use this Caput Mortem to create a little more curve. And this edge goes up just a little bit higher. There we go. Well, that's a good start to that ear. Obviously, we're not done yet, but we're getting some of the foundation there ready.
Yes, congrats, Heidi.
Everyone's offering a congratulations to Heidi for that first portrait. That is awesome. Such a great feeling. I remember that feeling. Your first portrait. And your first portrait in graphite is different than your first portrait in colored pencil. Your portrait that you do in any medium, it's a different feeling, isn't it, each time? Very, very cool. Okay, let's do this. Move that in there. Okay. I'll look at... And yes, I think it was Carol. Someone was talking about how close I am to the edge of the paper. Yeah, I'm very close to the edge of the paper over here. I may just have to do these boring parts like the neck when we're not on a live stream. I don't know how exciting that'll be when we start trying to just get this neck done. It's usually not very exciting to me, I'll tell you that. Okay. Let's see if I can see that ear over here. That looks okay.
For drawing wood, John. My latest commission is a dog laying on a wooden floor and she wants a little of the background included in a vignette around the dog.
So Carol's asking if I have any tips for drawing wood. I've drawn wood a few times, and one of the things, I guess, if I start thinking about wood, is what I try to do is create more of like a pattern. So I'm going to look at the dark areas first, and those lines, if it has some real definite grain, then I'm going to outline some of that and create that pattern. And so I'll just use this. Say I've got a knot, right here, and then I've got some grain that comes out away from that. So I'm going to try to put some of that in first, So I hope that helps. And then I start adding in more of the colors around that. To me, that seems to be an easier thing to do. But I hope that helps. But congratulations on the commission, though, by the way, Carol. That's awesome. Very, very cool. I'm sure you'll do a great job. If your past drawings are any indication, then I know you'll do an awesome job with that.
Thank you. I will try that.
Oh, you're very welcome. Okay. Let's see what that's looking like. All right. So, we've made some progress today, I feel like. Probably need to come out, extend that neck just a little bit more. We'll probably work on that maybe next time. We'll actually look at the eyebrows a little bit more, because we're not, this, I need to use ivory, but this needs to come up just a little bit more right in here and get a more accurate representation right in there. There we go. I really want everything on this side of the face to be brighter than on this side, even in this area. So I'm looking at the area that crosses over this center plane. So everything on this side of the nose really can be darker over here than over on the other side. Even if I don't see that in my reference, I can still do that, because that follows the rules of light, and I can get away with that. go. Okay. Got to smooth out some of these areas up here because they're starting to look like blotches. There we go. A little more in there. Okay. At some point, I'm going to have to be happy with some of these areas and say, okay, leave that alone. You don't need to keep obsessing over some length on a highlight or a shadow. It's good enough, close enough. Leave it alone and move along. Sometimes we can do that to ourselves. We think that we just have to get it so perfect, and it doesn't matter that much. Some of those things sometimes don't matter. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and stop. I think we did get some things accomplished that are good. It looks like we've got several areas, though, we'll need to address next time, though, as well. But, maybe one more session, depending on what's going on next week, I might be able to just go ahead and push through and get this done. We'll see. Time will tell, and if I'm healthy and the Lord allows me to live long enough, then next week I'll see you back here again. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great day.